So the Falcons will look to regroup as we welcome in Michael Burwell from the Toledo Blade. Michael, thank you for coming in.
Yep, thanks for having me.
So that second half was a completely different story than the first half, as the Falcons, as we heard from Scott Loeffler, couldn't finish it out.
Right, just night and day difference in the two halves. I mean, BG could not have played better the first half. They scored touchdowns on 4 of their 5 drives. Defense is dominating after an early Toledo touchdown. And then the second half, just total opposite. BG's offense really sputtered. The first few minutes of the third quarter were enormous. I mean, BG, a couple bad plays, a bad punt, leads to a quick Toledo touchdown. All of a sudden, a Toledo team that had no momentum, nothing going for them going into halftime, is right back in it. That made I felt that was the biggest difference in the game. And sure enough, obviously, the end of the game, lose on a heartbreaking play like that after leading for more than 55 minutes of this game. I mean, this one's going to sting for BG for a really long time.
They're not going to use this as an excuse, but I think we do have to talk about the fact that Falcons were without Terrion Stewart.
Yeah, once again, this was his second straight game missed with a right leg injury, and I think that played a huge factor in the second half. You know, Tron Keith played through an injury. He had 100 all-purpose yards, and did pretty well. But I mean, Terrion Stewart's just he's a different level. I mean, he's such a hard runner, and especially Toledo's rush defense isn't that great. In the second half, Stewart is known to get better as the game goes on, and without him, I mean, I think that made a huge difference in play calling, you name it, especially in the second half. Where BG can run out the clock and really, extend drives with Stewart's ability. I mean, they obviously didn't have that.
I think one of the other storylines that gets lost because of the way the game ended was the performance by Harold Fannin Jr. 2 touchdowns for the Falcon tight end, fullback, and this is an individual who is playing with an extremely heavy heart right now.
Yeah, he is. He lost his older sister a few weeks ago, about a month ago. Really close. They're both about the same age, best friends growing up. Just a really tough situation for Harold, and I'll tell you what, he's put together 3 of his best games in his young BGSU career since his sister's death, and great first half yesterday. 2 touchdowns, 5 catches for 89 yards. Toledo really targeted him in the second half, made sure to slow him down. I don't think he received a target at all, but he is such a dynamic player. He can do so much. He has great hands, great speed for his position. I mean, he's literally the perfect player for that position for Scott Loeffler's offense. And yeah, with going through a lot, he has become one of the top players offensively for BG.
And unfortunately, he's not the only Falcon who's been dealing with this. There's been a lot of family members of Falcon players who have passed away recently, and I think we've kind of seen this team grow closer through that grief.
Yeah, I think so too. There's been a lot going on, off the field for some of their top players, and they kind of rally around each other. There's definitely a family environment and family atmosphere in BG. Scott Loeffler cares about his players. I mean, there's no question about that. Like, he cares for them, how they do on the field, cares for them off the field. So they've kind of rallied around each other during some tough times off the field.
Generally, I'm not a fan of the 2-quarterback system, and all season long, for a variety of reasons, we've seen a lot of Connor Bazelak and a lot of Camden Orth. Last night, I think it was a very effective use of the 2-quarterback system.
Yeah. They've really figured out, when to utilize both. Camden Orth comes in and, goal line situations where you need, 5 yards or something to find the end zone. Connor Bazelak, obviously really good with his arm. He made a lot of great throws yesterday, especially in that first half. And so, I mean, Camden Orth, very effective runner. They've figured out a way to really utilize both of them.
We talked a little bit about in the third quarter how the momentum shifted with the Falcons not getting much going in that initial drive. The other part of that story is the fact that the first half, the Falcon defense, phenomenal job, and then they were playing on their heels a little bit in the second half.
Yeah. Toledo's just slowly working their way back in the game. defensively, I mean, BG forced a few 3-and-outs in that first half, just really, really effective. And they continued to make plays in the second half. You know, the offense, I mean, with the offense kind of sputtering a little bit, you know, the defense was put in some tough positions, and they continued to come through. It's just obviously the huge play at the end of the game, I mean, was the difference maker. But, you know, BG's defense, you know, they forced another turnover. You know, they had 3 sacks against Toledo, which had only given up 5 all season. So, I mean, the defense, even though, you know, you're giving up 32 points, I mean, the defense continues to make plays.
So the Falcons' narrow window to become the MAC East champion closed last night with the loss to Toledo. So they finish up the regular season next Tuesday at Kalamazoo. Broncos coming off of a tough loss to Northern Illinois. So you're bowl eligible. You can't get to the MAC championship game. Is there anything left for Bowling Green to play for against the Broncos?
Yeah, there is. A win against Western Michigan would solidify a winning season, which I think would be enormous. It would be the first winning season since 2015. You know, it would be another step forward in this direction for this program. Obviously, with the talent level with this team, I think they had higher, you know, aspirations than, you know, a 7-5 regular season. But at the same time, you can't. I mean, to get a winning season, I think that would be enormous. So they still have a lot to play for. It's just going to be interesting how they bounce back from, obviously, this brutal loss. You know, they got to get ready next week and find a way to win.
And then after Kalamazoo, it'll be off to a bowl game. Maybe Boise, maybe Mobile, maybe Charlotte. It's the MAC. We never know what the bowl situation is going to be, but we'll be here to sort that all out over the next couple of weeks. I want to thank our guest, Michael Burwell from the Toledo Blade. You can read all of his Bowling Green Falcon coverage online and in the print editions of the Blade. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.